those things on the transcript and grades mailed out. Thank you to everyone who was here on Sunday for graduation. I understand it went very well, and it was a wonderful day for both parents, families, friends, and our graduates. Thank you for allowing me to be with my family that day as well, as Amy graduated too. So, due to construction, Becky said moving over to Parkview Friday and by June 11th completely for a time. And the athletic and B&G offices are being located up here at district office as well, because as of Saturday, June 9th, there have been a lot of crews that are going to be in and start to take apart a lot of things, and we are to consider the high school, practically all the high school, a construction zone. We'll be able to get in and retrieve things if we need to, and if we can find them. Many things are being packed up in carts and boxes and stored in various rooms, but we still have access to those things if needed. But basically, it's considered a construction zone up until August 13th.
Give the keys to the car back on the 13th.
Yeah.
The gym is accessible.
I was just going to say that.
The gym is accessible, and the weight room is accessible for the summer school program. But other than that, the rest of the building, not so. We do have high school summer school registration coming up, and that all happened between June 11th and 15th after we get final exams done and grades calculated. We'll know who needs to take a course for credit recovery. And also a little older news with our music department, State Soul Ensemble. We had 5 events earn a perfect score, and they include Devin Jackson, music theater solo, Gavin Gensling, music theater solo, Mark Hazel, piano solo, Emily Shellpepper and Reagan Strelo is a duet, and then our Incognito group, which is a cappella group of many students. They also won a perfect score, and that included the following students: Devin Jackson, Kevin Emmerling, Caleb Krieger, Colin Allison, Joe Oganoff, Diego Borja, Elena Hazelberg, Alyssa Gazuski, Gabby King, Isabel Sabi, Matea Wellick, Cynthia Hintz, Caitlin Mahoney, McKenna Postberchek, and Tyra Rickert, as well as Holly Meyer. Many of those are seniors, and they have graduated, but we do have a nice group coming up to continue the tradition in our music department. So congratulations to all those students for their perfect scores at state.
Thank you, Bob. Lee?
Just a quick couple items wrapping up the year. In our federal grant program, Ryan, our business director, and I will start making claims against the 17-18 budget. Basically what we do is anything that we've spent that can apply toward Title I, Title II, Title IV, we put against, and he'll make the claims. And at the same time, Carrie Matheson, another group of teachers, and myself, and Ryan and Scott will then create the 18-19 budgets for those same programs. Pretty much directed by the state on a portal that we have. There's not a lot of much figuring as much as where we want to put the money. It's a set dollar amount from the feds and the state. They give us the discretion on where we want to use it. At times we do have carryover dollars. And then we get out and work with our parochial partners, St. John's, St. Mary's, and then the Rivers Church as well in terms of their allotment of funds, if they so choose to pursue those. I also want to let you know regarding special education, our Parkview and middle school teams have met for the kids that are transitioning from 2nd to 3rd grade. They started assigning class lists and caseloads, and then Lisa Heim and I take all our special ed students, we roll them up 1 year, and then start leveling caseloads too, because we might have a shift of population, a large group from 5th to 6th, and then we can move some other kids around. The reason I make point of this is that this summer we are bringing our paraprofessionals in for 4 half-days of training, and part of that training will really begin to how best to support our students in the regular ed classroom. So the idea is we get our paras training this summer, then they'll begin to work with the gen ed staff in August when we come back, looking at what services and supplementary aids and things that the kids need in the classroom. This is something we didn't have a chance to do last year, and I think we felt the effects as the year went on. So that's a quick update. Any questions? Thanks.
Thanks, Lee. Any possible future action items? Talk about that.
I have a recommendation for the coating, get a company, there's a Tremco company out of Milwaukee, get a guy out to maybe recommend a coating for on there.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That was called Trumco?
Tremco.
Okay.
I'll try to get a number for you.
Yeah, if you have anything, otherwise we'll just Google it. But, yeah, we'll
Sure.
take it.
I've got another question. My kids, my sixth grade son, when he was in sixth grade, and now my daughters are mentioning to me that CNN is playing in their room, in their classroom. If that's the case, I think they need to maybe put something on the opposite of conservative, or have nothing at all, okay? If you're gonna have one side, you should have the other side. Let the kids make a decision, not fill them full of one side and not let them see the other side. So that's my, okay?
Sure, sure.
The unfinished business. New business, we have resolution 1718257. Approval of resignation. Motion by Joe, seconded by
I'll second.
Dave. Any questions on this resignation? Joe?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 601. Resolution 1718258, approval of hire Cammy Vince as server for the summer meal program.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Joe, seconded by Nora. This is for any child under the age of 18, right?
Right, so Nikki was here at the last board
Right.
meeting.
Talking
I think there's already been a couple brought for approval. There could be 2 more for the summer meals program alone. So she actually, Nikki will need to have help me with this one. So any changes in wages, that stuff for food service, is that the food service committee or the negotiations committee?
That would be the negotiation.
Okay, 'cause she's ready to roll. So what's happened is that tonight we have letters of assurance or letters of appointment for school year employees ready to go. Those don't include any changes in wages, but we just need to make sure that they know that jobs are coming, right? So in the meantime, we have met, and for almost all of the support staff, we have recommended wage increases, So, and I met with Ryan before this board meeting, and what we're waiting for is for the open enrollment confirmations, and those come on June 29th, and after that, we should say, hey, this is as good as it's gonna get until registration. So, so she has some ideas for wages, and she just needs to know, is that a food service thing, negotiations thing? So it is personnel oriented, so negotiations it is.
Just these people who we have working in food service for the summer.
Sure, right, we're ready, so we'll
Jump in here.
we're gonna coordinate another negotiations meeting so that we could talk about all of the support staff wages.
How many people do we have working summer food service right now?
Well, okay, so as of right now, I think there's 3 that are approved, and I think 2 more are coming.
Okay. I think I read that on free, so that's gonna be a lot of people.
They
Yeah, I'm not
actually
sure.
have plans, we've met with daycare centers, so there's a couple of the daycare centers we're actually gonna be busing and picking up, they decided school-age kids will get picked up and bused twice a day, once summer school is done even, to bring them in for breakfast and to bring them in for lunch.
And so the buses are for that. The private schools aren't in session, so really buses, because,
It'll be to the daycare centers.
Yeah, just
And there's,
those.
so there's daycare centers, the 2 that will be, they need, looking to have the busing will be Patty Cakes and St. Mary's.
the promos are just starting to be out there, so you can see a flyer or like a poster in front. There's a sign out in front. We're gonna reach out to like local churches and organizations and let everybody know about our program. So Nikki stopped in today with some of her promos, and we're just gonna blitz and get it all over town, so everybody knows. And you're more than welcome to do the same. What I'll do is Nikki can just give us a PDF copy of that and then share it away. So definitely the success of the program is based upon participation, what it comes down to. So like, let's say for some reason, there's not a lot of participation, well, these workers would not be working that. It's not a guaranteed work, I'm only gonna work if the need is there.
Any other questions about this approved hire? Joe?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 6-0-1. Resolution 1718, 259, approval of 2018-2019 district calendar change.
So moved.
Motion by Joe, seconded by Nora. You want to explain the change?
Absolutely. So we just added one day off for the students this year. It is February 18th. That puts us, I think, actually the same exact number of student contact days we have this year. It is. And what that was for is that Ted and CISA 6 developed a partnership with First, the group that we've actually done some work with this last school year. And they're bringing in a state-of-the-state workshop, or state-of-the-art workshop, high-end stuff. For us, it's pretty much free for us to send our staff members to. It's going to be supported by everybody coming outside of CISA 6 to attend the event, which is great news for us. So some of the speakers, like we've actually hired one of the speakers, Tom Herrick, to come and work with our staff here. He alone for a day was $5,000. So we get to go see Tom Herrick and others like him speak, and the cost is next to nothing. I think it's like $5 a person. The one caveat is that our buses drive our staff to the workshop, and then we help our buses help to transport other people throughout the day too. So definitely worth it. So it's a big day for us. Now that should be a standing thing moving ahead. So that was the discussion that occurred last spring and in the fall, and then we weren't sure if it was happening or not, and then this winter, he was able to confirm everything, but we already had our calendar approved. So just bringing it before school is officially out so that we can communicate to our families and make sure to just make this one update. The other part I do want to share with you are the minutes for each building. So we met with Travis, our Director of Transportation, and based upon feedback from some of our staff and the time they're looking to collaborate in the morning, we've made some adjustments to the calendar. And we have, for the K2 building, 7:55 to 3:05 next year. For the middle school, 8 o'clock to 3:10, and our high school, 7:50 to 3:15. Those are slight changes, but we'll be communicating that to the families this summer, or now, so that if they need to make any changes in their calendar, that they can do so. So that's what's up in the calendar.
Any questions on the calendar change?
I just didn't quite understand those boxes off to the side.
Oh, okay, sure. The color?
Or to like K2, to 12 extra
Oh.
days.
That
We have
is,
12 more days than what's required.
yep.
So we can stop.
Okay, I just-
So Parkview, so for me, I'm old school still, so I go through and the state of Wisconsin doesn't require number of days. They require total minutes is what they do. So then this is the resource that I use to help calculate the minutes. So technically, a little Parkview, because it's a K2 building, elementaries are only required to have a certain amount of minutes. So there's literally 12 extra days of school in that calendar.
I just didn't understand the numbers.
Yeah, so they could have 12 snow days and they'd be okay. So all of that is adding up the minutes, subtracting out the minutes for early release. We have very few. I think there's like 2 early releases in the calendar next year. So all of that adds up to 88 extra hours, which they would
okay.
never want to give up.
Okay, hours, okay.
So it's 88 hours,
okay.
which adds up to 12 extra days. And then like if you look at technically this building, because it has 7th and 8th grade in it, this building is all held accountable to the 4.2 extra days. So that we have 5 snow days next year, we'll be looking at that calendar saying, well, guess who's gonna make up some time. But we haven't. Now watch, knock on wood, but we haven't been close to those this last 2 years. And then the high school's got 8.7 extra days to go through their calendar. So really, it's the lowest one we need to be concerned with. So we've got 4.2 days.
Any other questions? Joe?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carried 6-0-1. Resolution 1718260, approval of 2018-2019 letters of assurance for support staff. So motion by Nord, seconded by Joe.
Okay. These are all organized by position, so you have regular ed aides, special education aides, food service, transportation, and office staff, and crossing guards. And this resource has been pared down just to reflect their current wage, their labor grade that they will be in next year. There's only one there's minimal changes in any of the wages. We did move Val Christian in the office staff. She has been an MOU, and we decided based upon her actual duties, what she does. And MOUs, we learned, really are more about, they're 100% independent. They don't have set hours. They're in charge of all of their time and how they're working. This individual, we're very much in charge of her hours and how she's providing support and kind of direct her. So we're switching her to a support staff position, so you can see what that would equate to for her hourly wage. And she does have a maximum of 400 hours the way this is written. And then the only other one that had a wage change would be in the bus drivers. When someone goes from 1 year of service to 2, it's actually in the handbook, it's an increase. So that's an automatic based upon the handbook language that we have, so that wage went to $25.39. So we are keeping track of the people who either retired or aren't returning, and then the vacancies, so you can see what we should be bringing to you still this summer that we're filling before the beginning of next year. So the goal would be is we're going to come back with this list again, and then the increases will be. This is when we legally need to give them notice before the school year's over that, hey, you've got a job coming for next year. They're not working this summer.
Any questions on these letters of assurance? Norm?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried 6-0-1. Resolution 1718261, approval of memorandum of understanding for certain professional staff members. Need a motion? So Joe, second by Norm.
All right, so these two individuals are supporting us in more of that independent way. They are looking for these part-time positions, and when we vetted out we had 4 or 5 MOUs. We decided that these are the 2 MOUs that should continue for the 2018-19 school year. There are not wage increases in these. There will not be based upon our current plan. So we've got Mrs. Krieger, who supports the school district as a speech and language teacher. It's actually speech and language specialist is what I would say for the Mayville School District. We have a speech teacher on staff. This is to support a little bit extra scoop that goes above beyond that full-time equivalency of our teaching. And then that has a cap actually that's in it, so it's not to exceed $15,000. It's a wage of $49.35. So when the hours are worked, that's when the compensation comes. And then for Laura Rusnick, Laura is a retired librarian from a nearby school district, and she's looking for something very part-time to support us. So she supports all 3 of our libraries, helps with the budget for common school funds, and her base rate is $60 per hour.
Question, Scott. Are these considered subcontractors, or they become actual employees?
We're looking at these as subcontractors. That's why they're MOUs. That was a great question. That's how we're gonna treat them. They're gonna have like a 1099.
So we don't have to worry
So
about.
with a straight wage, and then the rest will be handled.
Okay.
That was exactly what we're looking for, by the way. So we wanted to go from, with the MOUs, that they're more like a subcontractor, like that. Hey, you've got this. So, a good example, like our school nurse, you don't see a school nurse here, but they need to bring like malpractice insurance, that kind of stuff. We did help to cover that because the person was so part-time, we needed them to have that. But yeah, they need to have separate coverage if they legally need it. Both of these do not. They won't be, like Laura doesn't work directly with kids. Mrs. Krieger, when she's working with students, it's right here in the building, she'll be supervised.
So we're doing this here, are we looking to do that in other areas of the school?
We have other parts that are like part-time positions. We do have contract services. At the last board meeting, the board approved a contract with Dominichek.
Right.
That is a subcontracted service, so they have all their own liability, all that stuff. When it's the right fit, when it's, sometimes it's very lean in order to do this. We used to have a contract with CISA 6 for almost all these kind of things. Actually, Mrs. Krieger used to work for CISA 6. CISA 6 is our leadership consortium. And John met earlier with me today. I showed him what the tentative contract looks like. And he said at one time the contract was about $600,000. Right now, with the numbers that we saw, it's around $88,000. We just need to go through and vet that out one more time.
With all the
So-
same services?
No, very different. Instead, what we're looking at are things like this and more independent. So we pulled off the Dominichek. We've got basically a 1099, we've got an agreement with them to do that. Our library services, we've got our own independent person for that. So the speech piece, instead of going to CISA 6 and contracting that with them, we're going directly to the person. You know, so we definitely are very creative and lean when it comes to our support services. And when we do hire staff for the school district, the way that our benefits are set up, until you hit 75%, it's lean too. The only difference would be is that we're contributing to Wisconsin retirement system. These two individuals, this is just straight pay.
Question, what do you mean 75% of what?
Okay, 75% up of a full-time equivalency. So in schools, we talk about FTEs. So you're 1.0 FTE, that means you're full-time. Anything under that, you're prorated. So for us, if you work 90% for the school district, we pay for 90% of the benefit and you have to pick up the other 10%. So if you work 75%, you qualify for the benefits, but you pick up 25% of the costs that are associated with that. And then if you're underneath 75%, you don't qualify. And in the state of Wisconsin, as far as WRS goes, they tell us when people qualify. They work a certain amount of hours, and as soon as you work those hours, we are contributing to WRS for them. Okay? In Wisconsin, you cannot hit a certain amount of, you cannot take the WRS benefit and get a job working in a public school and take the WRS benefit. That's against the law. So these are these individuals are retired, they are like this 1099 independent MOU deal with us, that's okay. Even then, they have to be careful, they can't go so far. So in schools, though, we talk about FTEs, and FTEs are what drives their ability to qualify for benefits. Support staff are even a little bit different. We've got school year and fiscal year. So just a few moments ago, you approved school year letters of appointment. And it's really important to do that. Otherwise, they don't know if they have a job next year. So we're telling them, hey, we want you, save your schedule here. And that just went down. And then there's not a concern about unemployment, because they do have employment. It's just, they have the summer off. And legally, they don't qualify for unemployment at that point in time, because they do have a position that's there for them. So,
Thanks.
yeah, you bet.
Any other questions? Joe?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried 6-0-1.
Just I want everybody to know, the computer is frozen.
Awesome.
Oh, good.
Time's to be done.
Any other business?
Gone.
Additional citizen comments.
Then from right here, any chance we can reach out to all